Passengers in South Africa scramble to find flights out of the country as world leaders announce tighter border controls over fears that a new COVID strain may be more infectious and more resistant to vaccines. Officials in Germany and the Czech Republic now say they have suspected cases of the variant. They're waiting for confirmation from further tests. Europe's only confirmed case so far is in Belgium. Scientists warn of an unprecedented alien attack on wildlife in Australia. They say more of the country's unique indigenous animals and plants could disappear by the middle of the century. And the legendary composer Stephen Sondheim has died at the age of 91. He composed and wrote lyrics for a vast number of musicals, including West Side Story, Sweeney Todd and Follies.
Countries around the world are retightening their borders after the World Health Organization designated the highly mutated coronavirus strain detected in South Africa as a variant of concern. The UN health body has named the variant Omicron. The United States says it will restrict travel from 8 southern African countries starting on Monday. EU member states have agreed to limit travel from 7 southern African countries. The Japanese government is requiring all arrivals from South Africa, Eswatini, and 4 other southern African countries to stay in government-designated accommodation for 10 days. Prime Minister Kishida Fumio says from Sunday, Mozambique, Malawi, and Zambia will be added to the list of countries subject to the new rules. The Omicron variant has already spread beyond Africa. The Belgian government announced on Friday it had confirmed a case in the country. Another infection has been detected in Israel, which has a high vaccination rate. Cases have also been detected in Hong Kong. Media quote German firm BioNTech as saying it has started studying the new variant and expects to obtain detailed data within 2 weeks to determine if a new vaccine needs to be developed. The company, which jointly develops vaccines with the U.S. pharmaceutical firm Pfizer, says it will be able to start shipping a new vaccine within 100 days if necessary. Human rights advocates are raising the alarm over Interpol's choice for its new president. The global police agency elected an official from the UAE who has been accused of ignoring torture. Interpol held a vote Thursday at its annual General Assembly in Istanbul. The winner was UAE Interior Ministry official Ahmed Nasser al-Raisi. Human rights groups say he has turned a blind eye to the torture of detainees. Human Rights Watch says Interpol has once again elected a top official of an abusive state institution as its president. Interpol also elected Chinese Public Security Ministry official Hu Binchun to its executive committee. That sparked a protest by a group of 50 lawmakers from 20 countries. They say the appointment could allow the Chinese government to use the agency to hunt down dissidents overseas. The director of the human rights group Safeguard Defenders, Peter Dahlin, said on Twitter, a fox is now placed in charge of watching the sheep. Japanese Prime Minister Kishida Fumio has been laying out his vision for the country's defense strategy. He says the government could grant the self-defense forces the ability to launch strikes on enemy bases. Kishida addressed about 800 personnel at the Self-Defense Forces Camp Asaka on Saturday. He said the attack capacity was one option the government was studying for Japan to increase its necessary defense capability.
The security environment surrounding Japan is changing more significantly than ever. I have ordered a revision of the government's national security strategy, defense program guidelines, and midterm defense program.
Kishida said North Korea continues to fire ballistic missiles in violation of UN Security Council resolutions. He said it was important not to ignore the development of new technologies by the North, including hypersonic glide vehicles and missiles that can take irregular trajectories. The Prime Minister also noted that China has bolstered its military without sufficient transparency and is making unilateral attempts to change the status quo. Japanese government officials are closely monitoring the escalating conflict in war-torn Ethiopia. They'll send a team to neighboring Djibouti to assess whether to help with the evacuation of their citizens. The decision comes amid worsening fighting between Ethiopian government troops and Tigrayan forces from the north. The government declared a state of emergency this month. Japan's foreign ministry has issued the strongest evacuation advisory for its citizens. The National Security Council will send a team to Djibouti, home to a Japanese self-defense forces base. The members will determine whether SDF planes should be used to fly Japanese citizens to safety. A government official told NHK there are no reports of the conflict impacting Japanese residents of Ethiopia, but the official said the situation is volatile and the government will do everything necessary to ensure the safety of its citizens. UN officials have announced they will evacuate the family members of their international staff. And the US, France, and Germany have all asked their citizens to leave immediately. The Russian government says it will start accepting applications for business activities in a planned tariff-free zone on Russian-controlled islands claimed by Japan as early as next year. At a meeting on Friday, the Russian government discussed preparations for introducing the zone on what it calls the Kuril Islands. The islands include 4 that are claimed by Japan. Finance Minister Anton Siluanov says companies doing business in the zone would be exempted from key taxes, including corporate income and property taxes, for up to 20 years. The minister also says the government plans to continue the program through 2046. In September, President Vladimir Putin announced the tariff-free zone plan designed to attract foreign investment. 2 Russian deputy prime ministers visited Etorofu Island, one of the 4 islands, in October, apparently in preparation to implement the project. Japan has already told Russia that the plan runs counter to an agreement to carry out joint economic activities on the islands on the premise that they do not infringe on the legal positions of the 2 countries. The Japanese government maintains that the islands are an inherent part of Japan's territory. It says the islands were illegally occupied after World War II. Yokozuna Grand Champion Terunofuji has secured his 6th title. He won the Kyushu Grand Sumo tournament in Fukuoka on Saturday. Terunofuji is currently the only wrestler at the sport's highest rank of Yokozuna. He went into the ring unbeaten on the 14th day of the tournament. He faced off against Abi, a rank-and-file wrestler. Abi was trailing Terunofuji by 1 loss. Abi pushed Terunofuji to the edge at the beginning, but Terunofuji forced him back to win the title. Terunofuji was promoted to the rank of Yokozuna in July, the last time a grand champion won 2 consecutive tournaments right after being promoted was in 1961.
I was ready for anything that my opponent might do. I will do my best on the last day of the competition tomorrow so that I can take that momentum into the next tournament.
People in Tokyo have been bracing themselves against a chilly wind, but a herd of capybaras at a zoo north of the capital has gotten to enjoy a hot bath and a special treat. Zookeepers at Nasu Animal Kingdom have built an outdoor pool to provide the animals with a warm place to escape. The giant rodents are originally from the Amazon region in South America. They will be able to enjoy the bath through mid-March. The capybaras were also presented with 100 locally grown apples. They are one of their favorite foods.
They're so cute, eating apples.
It's so relaxing to watch that I can forget my everyday worries. I also want to go soak in a hot spring.